Hey everyone, my name's Alex Karim, as you've just heard. I'm the Metaverse lead here at Microsoft UK. What that ultimately means is I lead our Azure IoT and mixed reality businesses here in the UK. Got a really cool session for you guys, and you guys have chosen to watch me and the team at Alder and Insight instead of Gareth Southgate. So, well, fair play to you guys. Really appreciate that. Really, really cool. An amazing decision you've just made. For the agenda we've got today, we've got three kind of core components that I wanted to go through to get everyone up to speed with what mixed reality is. Maybe you've experienced HoloLens on the HoloLens stand. If not, I would highly recommend you do that at some point. But I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of what mixed reality is to Microsoft. I'm then going to be joined on stage by Alder Children's Hospital and Insight to talk about how this actually is making a real impact in the healthcare industry today. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the future. I have a full hologram of me that we'll be bringing on stage. Really cool. A little bit of an insight into what the future of this is in terms of mixed reality for the future of 3D collaboration. So, a quick intro to myself. I have three pictures which kind of tell a little bit of a story. So you can see on the left, I'm an Arsenal Football Club fan, which, yeah, I already see some shaking heads. Usually splits the room in most of the presentations I give. But you can see in this, I'm quite interested in immersive technology in my spare time. So you can imagine during the pandemic, I was unable to travel to the Emirates to actually watch my favorite team play. But what I was able to do was to put on a VR headset, an Oculus, and be transported into the Emirates to watch the games live. So what I was able to do was to take what was a personal interest to actually see things in real time in VR, which is really, really cool. The picture in the middle is of my previous role. So previous to Microsoft, I actually worked at McLaren, where I was actually bringing in immersive technology like HoloLens 2 to support the business in both automotive and in Formula One. And then the third picture is just who's the highest profile, coolest person I can meet through HoloLens technology, and that's me with Nico Rosberg, Formula One world champion at COP26. So, what is mixed reality? So mixed reality to Microsoft is really the third evolution of computing. The original mission statement for Microsoft was to put a PC on every single person's desk, and we can say in the developed world that that's mostly been achieved. We're very much now in that mobile era where iOS and Android are the primary computing devices that we use on a day-to-day basis. But what we see as the future, and in some cases, as you'll hear with Alder, the reality is that bringing that content into the real world, so bringing in 3D content immersively and actually interacting with computing in the real world, blending physical and digital realities. And that's ultimately what mixed reality is, blending the physical and the digital world together. So the physical world being this theater that we're inhabiting today, but the digital world being all the content we consume, whether that's the PDF documents, the Word documents, the 3D content. And what we're talking about with Microsoft, with mixed reality, is to blend the physical and digital worlds together. Nice little animation, right? Cool. So that's what mixed reality is to Microsoft. Where does it actually add value? Because ultimately, that's what's really important with any technology, is where it adds value. And we see it across industry. It's very much an enterprise tool and technology stack, not a consumer grade. But we see it in these five kind of core industries adding value on a regular basis. Top one globally being manufacturing, as obviously I have experience with at McLaren. But the second top globally is in healthcare, which is kind of one that I'll be kind of focused on today. And they're the industries, but what's the return on investment? What are organizations seeing? So these are kind of some of the headline statistics from some of our case studies. One of the ones, Mercedes-Benz, again, quite an automotive, not myself, with HoloLens technology. By putting HoloLenses in every single dealership in the North American region, Mercedes-Benz are seeing a 40% reduction in travel costs. So what you're able to do is have a HoloLens in a dealership, and so if there's an issue, the technician can put on that headset, make a call, and get expert eyes on that problem. And they're seeing a 40% reduction in travel costs, but not having to fly experts around the US to actually resolve problems. Another one, a personal favorite of mine, Lockheed Martin are working on the NASA Orion project. They're using holographic technology to guide and train their staff to how to assemble that spacecraft. And they're seeing tasks that were taking 8 hours through traditional means take 45 minutes with holographic technology, which is really, really awesome. And what are the use cases? Where do we see this technology adding value on a regular basis? So I'm only going to call out a couple of these. Number one being that remote assistance use case. I've kind of alluded to it a few times. A frontline or field engineer or frontline worker needing expert support. And so what they're able to do is connect to the expert remotely, and the expert can see through their eyes and guide them through a task. Another one being guided task execution for training, step-by-step instructions, seeing physical, or holographic screws going into holes and actually seeing things going together. A really, really powerful way to learn and be guided through a task. And then, of course, hybrid collaboration. That's kind of where we're going, and we'll touch on that a little bit later with the concepts of holoportation. Now, obviously, I've got Alder Hey Children's Hospital joining me on stage shortly. What I thought I would do is just pop up some of the top use cases we see in the healthcare industry specifically. And those are holographic patient consultation, remote expert consultation, and training simulations. And if I flick to the next slide, we can see some of the kind of use cases or kind of customer examples. The remote expert consultation, I'll kind of jump on that one. The NHS, as you can imagine, during the pandemic, were doing ward rounds. Now, ward rounds typically take about 4 or 5 people, and they would go through the ward. That is not a sustainable thing when you've got a global pandemic on hand. You are exposing unnecessarily 4 or 5 people regularly on a day-to-day basis to COVID-19. What were they able to do? They would reduce that to one person with a HoloLens on, transmitting what they see to the experts in another place, in a safe area outside of the COVID-19 risk areas, and actually be able to guide and see what's happening in real time. So real use case, really amazing for the healthcare industry. So up next, what I would like to do is probably play a video, and you'll recognize some of the faces very shortly, about how Alder Hey Children's Hospital are working with our partner Insight to transform patient care with HoloLens. So if we could play the video.
Alder Hey Children's Hospital is one of the biggest and busiest in Europe, and we offer some of the most complex surgeries here, such as cardiac and neurosurgery. So during the pandemic, what was really important to Alder Hey was continuity of care. We're able to do was to think about how we could use technology to allow us to continue service and provide equitable access to care.
At Insight, we'd created something called our Mixed Reality Fast Start, and this was all about education and demonstration. So how could we enable people to get started and to use this technology quickly?
We quickly adapted and innovated by using Microsoft HoloLens to the second generation and the remote assist platform, which helped us immensely with the telecommunication aspects.
Using HoloLens, we can access what he can see or she can see from home or from our office or from any part. If that can be done in a geographic area, there is no limits, so the whole planet Earth can be connected.
It immediately take practice of medicine into a completely different level, and now that the pandemic is going away, we don't see the technology going away.
But what makes us really unique here at Alder Hey is that we have a dedicated innovation centre which allows us to bring new disruptive technologies into healthcare for the benefit of children and young people. The main areas that we focus on here at the Innovation Centre are artificial intelligence for good, health tech for good, and also how immersive technologies will enable better, equitable access to care for all the children across the planet.
The combination of hardware and software, the Microsoft HoloLens 2, along with the Dynamics 365 Remote Assist software solution, we kind of bring along then our services to help implement that and bring that to life.
Our main strategy is around how we can deliver Alder Hey anywhere. In doing that, we'll be able to give children and young people better healthcare that will give them a great start in life, enabling them to grow up to be healthier adults.
Awesome. And so at this point, what I'd like to do is invite my panel on stage with me. So I've got Claire Liddy, Managing Director of Innovation for Alder Hey, Phil Moore, Innovation Director at Insight, and Dr. Rafael Guerrero, Heart Center Clinical Director. Awesome. So I wanted to say thanks firstly for taking time out of your very busy schedules to be here. Last week I was on a call with Claire, and Dr. Rafa joined the call in his scrubs and was like, I've just come out of theatre, I've got 10 minutes, what are we doing next week? And I was like, oh God, giving like the quick kind of intro of the kind of key talking points, but I really appreciate you being here. And
thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Awesome, cool. So I guess the first thing to do, I've obviously given your titles, names, but that's not really a true introduction. If we could do a kind of a quick round of intros and maybe start with yourself, Rafa?
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting us. I think that was an absolute honor to share this panel with yourself and the whole team. So I'm Rafael Guerrero. I'm originally from Peru, and I'm a heart surgeon. I'm the director of the heart surgical service in the whole northwest of England. But as well, I'm co-founder and director of innovation. So we created this innovation center a few years ago, and we have, with the whole team, we have built it. So that's one of our roles here.
Phil?
Yeah, so Phil Moore, I look after digital innovation for public sector for Insight, and a big part of that for us is working with the NHS. I've worked alongside the NHS for probably more than 15 years or so now, but very much in the last couple of years, it's been in the immersive tech space.
Awesome. Claire?
Hi everybody, again, delighted to be here today. I'm Claire Liddy. My job is Managing Director of Innovation at Alder Children's Hospital. I'm part of the executive team. I'm also on the board of directors. My background is healthcare from a business management perspective. So my job, different to Raphael, is what we're trying to do is turn our innovation centre into a business of innovation. So I bring some commercial focus and expertise to the team.
Awesome. Cool. So that was great to get the intros. I think, we've seen the video a little bit about Alder Children's Hospital, but also the Innovation Centre. I was going to say, could you tell us a little bit more about Alder? I know, obviously, world-renowned children's hospital, but also the innovation group that you manage. And Claire, if you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. So Alder is a really large children's hospital. We are probably one of the biggest in Europe. We're really quite a diverse hospital. We have over 50 different services and specialties, everything from really complex surgery, kind of the type of surgery that's a world first, right through to mental health services and some community services as well. But I think we're not just a hospital. Alder has been innovating for over 100 years, so we very much see innovation as part of our DNA at Alder. Some of the world's first in terms of children's healthcare came from Alder. Some surgeries, heart surgeries, neonatal, some antibiotics. So very much we see innovation as part and parcel of who we are and what we do. And the Innovation Centre is a really unique place. I feel privileged and lucky that my full-time job is working on innovation. So we built a new hospital at Alder in 2015. It's a really iconic hospital. It was designed by children. It doesn't look like a hospital. It looks almost like a Teletubbies flower that's in a park, if you can imagine something quite like that. And what we decided to do when we built the new campus is actually to have a bunker under the hospital as a dedicated innovation centre. So that's a place where you can innovate. It's gone from strength to strength since Raphael founded it in 2015. The team is now over 30 experts, and we're a real kind of fused hybrid type team. There's, we have clinicians, we have technologists, we have commercial people, we have people who've worked in industry and technology startups, and I think that's what makes us quite different, and we have this dedicated resource, and our whole focus is to harness technology, take problems from the hospital and pull them through our process to create brand new solutions that we can deploy here in Alder. But our goal is not just to do innovation at Alder, is we want to create repeatable innovations that we can take to other places in the UK and even the rest of the world. So that's the Innovation Centre.
Awesome. Really appreciate that. And obviously, Alder are using Microsoft technology to support this, but all of that is then supported by one of our partners in Insight, right? So, there's one thing, the technology, but there's also supporting people like Alder to take advantage of that. So I guess, Phil, could you tell us a little bit more about how Insight, as a partner of Microsoft, have been supporting Alder on this technology journey?
Yeah, so Insight as an organisation, we've evolved from being just a traditional reseller of hardware and software into adding on services to that, and then implementing total solutions as a solution integrator. And we like to take customers on a journey, particularly in immersive tech is a great example of that. Right from the start of literally unboxing a HoloLens, for instance, and then getting it connected to a network and remote assist attached to it and doing the initial end user training. So that's kind of the get you started service, which we help Rafa and the team with. And then recently we've moved more to helping out with what we call the proof of value and doing some design thinking exercises with looking at other use cases and user-centric design. Next steps after that, can be adoption and change management, or even the development of a whole immersive tech strategy.
Absolutely. Awesome. That's really great to hear. And I think the key thing I want to talk about is, what's the real impact for patients for this technology, right? Technology is one thing, but when we're talking about especially healthcare and amazing institutions like Alder, what's your vision for HoloLens? What's the real impact that you're seeing? I was going to say, Raf, if you could probably take that.
Yeah, I think that is fascinating because, with Microsoft, we probably take it for granted that everybody use Microsoft as the, in their PCs and as the keys. And when HoloLens started with HoloLens 1 a few years ago, and I was absolutely determined to get hands on one of the HoloLens 1s many years ago, but it changed. It's been phenomenal to HoloLens 2. It's just like ridiculous after 2 years gap. And when we think, the vision of this is, I think that the vision, you cannot see the vision. I think that we are going to create the vision together. I think that that's what is important and to know. What we can see is that the direct impact is like, with HoloLens allow you to be everybody else around outside, to be your eyes, or you be the eyes of somebody else's. So we have significant, massive applications who have direct clinical impact. So from just training staff to during the pandemic was a phenomenal use of this. As you say, as you have alluded to that, is that the benefit for the patient, benefit for the staff, etc. So for direct clinical application. But for me, if you want to think in the big picture, it's just we have a huge healthcare inequality around the world in the UK, and the technology, in HoloLens included, is going to help us to reduce that healthcare inequality. Because we are going to have access to expertise, we are going to have access to healthcare from anywhere. Many examples. We can be in the Isle of Man. My colleague will be using the HoloLens, and I will be able to, that person or that patient, have access to expertise in Alder in this case, directly, immediately, so they don't need to travel for 2 days or something like that. So I think that what we cannot absolutely miss is, for us as clinicians, Alex, the HoloLens or the immersive technology, the future is immense. It's going to, or it is changing the way that we deliver healthcare.
Awesome. And, Rafa's a very humble guy, but let me say that Rafa is a very specific skill set that is not available, democratized. You're a very special person, and there's a very few of these kind of special people in the UK or globally. And with this technology, it's really powerful because you're able to bring that skill set, bring that knowledge to different places where it wouldn't ordinarily be. And you can only be in one place at once, right? So
yeah, I think that you are right. Like you shouldn't limit with HoloLens, the borders, the geographic borders are gone. So you don't, in healthcare anyway, or in many places. So I go to China to help to develop heart centers in China, and then we already have connections in the future to use HoloLens over there, so to guide people to do operations over there. So we don't need to fly, and could be 24/7. So these allow you, 24/7, anytime, anywhere, to help patients, because at the end of the day, that's what we do, is to help human beings.
Yeah. And on that, that use case, I guess, and we're talking about the impact for patients. So, on the impact side of things, I don't know if Phil or Claire, if you got any things to add on that.
I think just to add in terms of how we innovate at Alder Hey, our whole kind of impulse to innovate is about solving the problems that exist today. Our strategy is called Today's Child, Tomorrow's Healthier Adult, because what we want to do is give children and young people a great start in life to give them better life chances. So that's about creating that impact. And the way we innovate at Alder Hey is through what we call co-production. So lots of our innovation projects, we've recently innovated with 100 children and young people a brand new mental health platform. And it's a digital therapeutic platform that allows them to be empowered, to access themselves rather than going via their GP or needing to ask their parents. But that's what the children wanted. They told us what the problem that they were facing was. And our method at Alder Hey is that using a design thinking, user-led approach, we co-innovate with children. And that's how we get the best impact, because actually it's not Alder Hey deciding what the solution is, it's the children and young people themselves. We just enable by using our innovation methodology and by working with the best partners in the world to bring the right tech forward for the children.
You're saying all the right things, Claire. That's amazing. No, but this, and I love that, the actual real impact for the children and how the children are really at the heart of everything that Alder Hey does, which is really cool. And with this kind of technology, it almost unlocks different ways of working, right? And I know, Claire, you've mentioned this idea of a hospital without walls and the future of healthcare. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add on that point.
Yeah, I think technology, we heard it this morning in the keynote, the pandemic has really kind of boomed technology forward, in healthcare and in all kind of industries. And where healthcare is going now is a shift towards more prevention, a real, a system of health rather than a system of illness. So we want to be able to empower, we want to be able to individualize healthcare to what the individual actually wants and need. So we've come up with a vision, which is called A Hospital Without Walls. And what it is a brand new platform that we've been co-developing actually with Microsoft. It's a digital therapeutics platform, and we're calling it a hybrid healthcare platform, because what it does is fuse together the physical healthcare with the remote healthcare. So it brings it all together and integrates it. So it's a hospital without walls. And by doing that, our vision, and it links to what Raphael's mentioned around the use of the HoloLens, we just want to be able to democratize our care anywhere. So our platform has been named Alder Hey Anywhere, because no matter where you're located, no matter whether you're at home, you're at school, you're an adult, you're on holiday, you can get care anywhere. But it's also preventative and it's also individualized. So the whole platform will be focused on the individual. So that's our vision. It's probably a 20-year vision, to be honest, and we're kind of at the start of it now. But we're really, really excited because Microsoft have been really supportive in helping us kind of come up with the technology. Because we had the clinical problem, we had the clinical idea, but we needed the technology, and Microsoft have enabled us to do that. And they never paid me to say that, by the way. It's a true story.
Awesome, cool.
But it's true, isn't it? Because, sorry, and one of the things that you probably underestimate is the absolute impact in the planet. So we are all talking about a green economy, how can we reduce carbon, and we have done so many studies, or we're doing some studies about the reduction in travel time, the reduction of all that by using this technology. And we should actually, I don't mean probably promote that in addition of helping kids, helping patients, Microsoft and the partners are helping somehow, as a side job to reduce the carbon print.
And that's something that's quite interesting as well, is that you might not necessarily link technology like mixed reality or HoloLens with sustainability. It's quite an interesting discussion. And I know, Phil, you've been working with Torbay and South Devon NHS Trust. Could you tell us a little bit more about how and that link to kind of sustainability?
So I was leading a session yesterday in a care home to train care home workers and community nurses on the use of this technology to do remote assessment of wounds for residents. And an interesting stat that they gave me is that Torbay, as an area, is just 25 square miles, but their community nursing team clocks up over 1 million miles a year in just travelling around to those individual care homes. And we proved yesterday you can actually do those wound assessments remotely, to the majority of them, we think. So there's potential to have a huge reduction in the amount of travel that they do, as well as addressing staff skills shortages,
Absolutely.
For instance.
No, awesome. Yeah, and it's something that you might not necessarily think of when it comes to this technology, which is really, really cool. I guess, just to wrap up the kind of the panel discussion element, I just want to say, what's next for Alder Hey and for this technology within healthcare, and I'll probably pose that to each to get their views.
I think for Alder Hey, our focus is about using the platforms, the technologies, and connecting them so we can get data. I think the power of data and how you democratize the data is what's next. You know, we really see the data opportunity as the big one. You know, being able to use that data to create artificial intelligence, which we can then augment clinical decision making, optimize hospital processes to get the best out of our resources, is what's next for Alder.
Awesome. Phil, any?
Yeah, so I'd say over the last couple of years, we've supported literally dozens of sort of pilot type projects in the relatively small volumes, like 5 to 10 units, things like that. We're now poised for the next stage of growth to start doing this at scale, and then looking at what the adoption and change management issues are, to look at from a user perspective of what the issues are about them getting to use this technology in practice and integrated with their processes. So it's not like an awkward add-on, it's an integral part of how they work.
Awesome. And Rafa, I'll give you the last words.
No pressure. Yeah, I think that the uses of HoloLens or immersive technology is becoming very clear for me in healthcare, which is, from absolutely direct clinical care of 24/7 training, education, and this communication with the parents, etc. But one of the things that we need to look into is that they shouldn't be in silos. So, immersive technology shouldn't be in silos with data, shouldn't be in different places. And if you have a drone or helicopter view of the whole environment, I think that they are all connected, or they are going to be connected. And our challenge is how to connect HoloLens, because that will be part of the uses of remote or healthcare in a remote way to the whole planet. We can sort out, this is replicable. So you sort out, in regional areas in the UK, you can apply this in different countries or continents. So I think that that's very important to have that overall view that you can, with the help of everybody, that can be done. And, ultimately our challenge as doctors or nurses is the human beings. And so if we can help with technology to sort out the healthcare inequality across the globe, that will be good. And to be responsible. So data it can be used in not a monetized way, and I think that Microsoft is an example of not. So Microsoft is a really good example of how you use technology and data for the good of the human beings.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so to the panel, thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Phil. Thank you.
Thanks,
Claire,
Alex.
thank you so much. Awesome. Cool. So that was a super exciting, panel discussion. Thank you so much to Claire, Rafa, and Phil for joining me today, and all made possible by the 3 logos on the screen, which is really cool. So that's, a real example of how this technology is making a real material impact today. But where we see the future of this technology is instead of just supporting those kind of frontline worker scenarios, but to actually look to move that to shared experiences, to collaborate together using holographic technology or mixed reality. And when we talk about that at Microsoft, we're really talking about Microsoft Mesh. And so at this point, what I'd like to do is to play a quick video to give you a future vision of what Microsoft Mesh is, and then I'll kind of jump into the nuts and bolts. So if we could cue the video.
Connection is a spark that gives our lives meaning. It drives us to seek out others who feel the same way.
Okay, why don't you input the data and we'll take a look together. Hey Mari, what you got for me?
To find those who share our views, yet offer different perspectives.
So this net. Look over here.
Challenge us with new ways of seeing.
That I think we should
deepen our understanding, and enrich our lives.
最后一笔的时候，往前。
Great things happen when we commit to something bigger than ourselves.
Take a closer look at it.
place this here. Let's see how we go from there, okay?
This sense of collaboration and the feelings of connection it brings excites us.
Hey, just in time. I'm gonna move it slightly, okay?
It's yours, take it.
We have 2 planes right now on the same trajectory.
As we put people first, technology fades into the background and feels like anything but.
Aisha, what do you think?
I think if we had 330, maintaining 2800, we'll be clear for approach.
Excellent.
This changes the way we see the world, and in turn, changes the world we see.
These numbers are looking great, actually.
There's promise in the possibilities, and what we see and create next will stretch the imagination.
Good morning, Sarah.
Morning.
Slowly coming towards the thumb.
A world without boundaries.
Good job. A lot better than yesterday.
Yeah.
Excellent. Slowly bring the
A
arm
world
down.
where technology enhances, not limits, humanity. With people front, center, and in the spotlight. The future is here. And here can be anywhere. Introducing Microsoft Mesh.
Pretty crazy, right? Every time I kind of watch that video, I get a little bit of goosebumps, to be honest. So what is Microsoft Mesh? You know, there's kind of three core components to Microsoft Mesh, and that is, firstly, that feeling of presence. You know, as you can imagine, and Rafa, we were talking about this before, a lot of our interactions right now are through a 2D screen, right? You know, and we're working to become more in person. We've got this amazing event happening today, which is great, and it's great to see everyone in person. But in those situations where we can't be together, with Microsoft Mesh, what we're trying to do is to bring that feeling of presence into those meetings. And then when you're in an immersive meeting, when you're actually looking at someone face-to-face in a 3D sense, you can experience content together in those experiences. And then one of the other core components of Microsoft Mesh is bringing that connection from anywhere, from any device. We don't want this technology to be limited to devices like the HoloLens, but also for it to be cross-platform, no matter where you are, meeting you where you are, whether it's either a PC, mobile, VR, and of course HoloLens, which is a core component. You would have seen in that video, you know, an example of ways of representing yourself in a holographic meeting, let's say. Now, in this image, this person here is physically in the meeting room, but they're being joined by two people. One of them is representing themselves using an avatar. If any of you use video games, you'll probably be quite familiar with representing yourself in a 3D space using an avatar. You curate a version of yourself. And then on the right, what we have is what's called a holoportation, actually digitally transporting someone into a meeting space, which is the future of where we're going with this technology. Now, with Microsoft Mesh, you know, that's a first-party product that we're working on, and we have, you know, first-party products in the Dynamics stack. We've talked about remote assistance use cases, guided task execution use cases. We have first-party products. But we also have, which I'll mention down here, over 200 partner solutions for HoloLens that are industry-specific to supporting this ecosystem. And at Microsoft, we're much wider than just the device or just the software, but we're the full stack of services and solutions. And in the middle, I just wanted to talk about the most comprehensive platform, which is that Azure services, the spatial anchors, the remote rendering, the object anchor. These are all tools built on Azure that help you build mixed reality experiences. And I'm going to call on one, remote rendering, is that you can imagine if you're working with 3D content, that file is quite large, but what you're able to do with remote rendering is to render that in the cloud without the need for a gaming PC or a high-rendered PC at your side and stream that down to the device, which is really cool. The reason I'm kind of talking about this is, you know, we have amazing partners in this space that are building solutions with this technology, and I've been working with two of our top partners in the UK in Dimension Studios and Fracture Reality on a really, really cool immersive demo. This is the debut of this content in this session, and it's a vision into the future of what is available today, and this is actually available today, and where we're going with the future. So I'm going to ask to play the video, and let's see this amazing demo in action.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex Karim, Metaverse lead here at Microsoft UK. I'm joined by one of our top partners in the UK, Fracture Reality. Mark, it's really great to have you here today.
Thanks, Alex. I'm really pleased to be here myself.
We're going to talk a little bit about the future of 3D collaboration. I could show you a little bit of Microsoft Mesh, maybe peek behind the curtain on Mesh for Teams, but what I really wanted to do was to elevate the stories of some of our top partners in the UK in Fracture Reality and Dimension Studios. Now, Mark, I know fracture reality really well. We've been working together for a number of years, but maybe our audience doesn't. Could you tell us a little bit more about fracture reality?
Thanks, Alex. So yeah, the founding team at Fracture all have technical backgrounds in the video game industry. In early 2016, we had access to the HoloLens 1. We realized very quickly that mixed reality was going to be transformational over the coming decade. So we refocused our business to work with enterprise across multiple sectors, building out solutions for clients. More recently, we've taken the knowledge, the experience, and importantly, the technology, and consolidated it into the Join XR platform, which is what we're going to show you later on. Thanks.
Awesome. And so, we could talk all day, but I think you really want to see HoloLens 2 in action. So let's jump into a Join XR meeting and go from there. Okay, so now we're actually in a holographic meeting right now in Join XR. We've brought in a digital twin of a building to have a look around. And you can see in the mixed reality environment, as I move around, the building stays in exactly the same place, as if it was really physically in the room with us. Mark, potentially you could tell us a little bit about Join XR as a platform and how this mixed reality experience is achieved.
Think of three-dimensional PowerPoint. You can bring in content of various types into the Join platform and arrange it and compose it as flexibly as you would in something like PowerPoint. The key difference is that we're using Azure remote rendering, so there is no limit to the complexity of the models that we can display. So essentially you can display anything in 3D and organize it as effectively as you would a PowerPoint.
And that's a really key important point, especially when we're talking about BIM data or a full digital twin of a building. As you can imagine, that file is quite large, but with Azure remote rendering, we're able to bring in the actual file, the true digital twin of the building, which is really, really powerful. So, we've got the building here. Why don't we take a look inside, Mark? That would be really cool.
Okay, I'm just going to take the roof off the building so we can look in at the HVAC and the water systems.
Awesome. And so one of the key things and the reason we brought a building into this mixed reality meeting is to tell a little bit of a story. You may not be aware that actually 40% of the UK's energy consumption actually comes from buildings or is attributed to buildings. And so there's a massive opportunity for us, not only in cost savings regarding energy, but also in sustainability. Mark, obviously we're in a Join XR meeting. We're both physically in the same room, but we don't have to be, right? We could work in a hybrid setting.
Indeed. In fact, let's invite Rob to come in from Brighton and join us with his avatar. Hey, Rob.
Hey guys, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you again. So we're taking a look at the building, and you can see we've got a couple of issues flagged on the water system there.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the data in some more detail.
Okay, let's call up some of the data.
Awesome. And so you can see, with Azure IoT technology, especially with some of our partners like Iconics, you're able to bring an actual full pane of glass into the exact building. We can see what the energy consumption is. We can see what the occupancy of that building is, and we can identify issues in real time. That data then enables us to actually take action to actually reduce energy consumption and ultimately CO2 emissions. And if we probably flip to the next slide after the IoT technology has been enabled, we can see that there's a massive impact on the sustainability elements, the energy consumption, and typically we see about 15 to 25% of energy consumption reduction using Azure IoT technology. In fact, one of our customers, or one of our partners' customers in Tesa San Paulo, is not only seeing a €2 million reduction per year in energy cost, but also a massive difference in their sustainability credentials. So we've just talked about mixed reality meetings, IoT, sustainability, but the way we're representing ourselves in these 3D meetings is using avatars, an easy way to represent ourselves in a 3D space. Now, Join XR has some really interesting avatar technology that effectively takes a picture and creates a 3D image. Mark, could you tell us a little bit more about avatars and obviously the Join XR platform from an avatar perspective?
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, well, it's really simple. As Alex said, you upload a photo, and within about 30 seconds, you've got a photorealistic three-dimensional avatar to represent yourself. From there on, in a meeting, all we do is we track the position of your head and in fact your hands so that you can fully express your body language as you move around and interact with everyone else in the meeting. The audio is spatial, so when you speak, it goes into the left ear of someone if you're standing to the left of them, etc. So the whole process to get your avatar, join a meeting, typically takes about 1.5 minutes and you're in. So super simple. We've tried to do that with all aspects of Join, from Azure remote rendering down to the avatar creation. The whole idea is to get in, get working within minutes.
Now, there's lots of different ways to create avatars. So for example, in AltSpace VR, you curate a version of yourself. You choose your hair color, your skin color, your clothes. You can effectively create a different version of yourself for that 3D world. But the reality is that's not a true representation of yourself. And in the future, we will transmit those accurate representations of ourselves through holoportation. Now, what we've created for today is a hologram of me, an example of what holoportation will look like in the future. And so, Mark, let's bring my hologram into the room and let's see what I have to say.
Let's do it.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex Karim, Metaverse lead for Microsoft UK. Well, actually, I'm not Alex. I'm his digital twin. The ways we work are constantly evolving, and one of the biggest changes on the horizon is the move from 2D to 3D collaboration. This paradigm shift allows us to enter 3D digital spaces using avatars to customize our virtual appearance. However, despite the many positives, avatars do not truly represent who we are. And so in the future, we will transmit accurate representations of ourselves, like this, into the digital world, using methods such as holoportation. Holoportation is a 3D capture technology that transports people as holograms anywhere in the world, and all in real time. And when combined with HoloLens, users can see, hear, and interact with people in 3D as if they were in the same physical location. Technology fades into the background as conversations become as natural as they are face-to-face. And today, this message is pre-recorded, but in the future, I'll be able to join you live, collaborate in real time, and all whilst using my real-world avatar, me. So you've just experienced a Join XR meeting using HoloLens 2. I hope you've learned a little bit about mixed reality, but also the opportunity for organizations with IoT and sustainability. So thanks again, Mark. Any other closing thoughts from yourself?
Thanks, Alex. Just to say, we've really enjoyed showing you how flexible and scalable our platform is, and to reiterate that because it's underpinned by Azure remote rendering, the possibilities of what you can display and how quickly you can do it are pretty limitless.
Awesome. Catch you next time.
Is that for me or for my hologram? I don't know. Pretty nuts, actually. And as crazy as that is for you watching, imagine being me looking at a hologram of me talking at me. It was the most meta experience I've ever experienced. What I wanted to say, just on that, is that whole demo would not have been possible without these two companies right here. Fracture Reality, an amazing partner of ours. You can get hands-on with their Join XR platform that you just saw in the HoloLens 2 area at Envision. So if you want to try that and experience that for real, please do head over to the HoloLens 2 stand to get hands-on. And then Dimension Studios, who are a world-leading 3D capture studios, who did that full capture of me. I went into a green room, was fully captured, and then that effectively created a 3D image or video of me that I can then now bring wherever I want, which is a bit weird. But there you go. So I just wanted to call out that would not have been possible without these two companies. And that's really it. That's all I had to do. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I provide updates on Microsoft Mesh and all the latest tech. So if you're interested in connecting with me on LinkedIn or following me, there's a QR code. Just scan that, and it should bring you to my LinkedIn. Just wanted to say at the end, thank you so much to Alder Children's Hospital and to Insight for joining me on stage for the panel. It was really amazing. I really hope you've enjoyed the session, and thank you very much. See you soon.